Place to be this weekend in lower downtown Denver, 20th and Blake. Coors Field, the Rockies getting together with the Chicago Cubs, and all 3 ball games are sold out. Hi once again, everybody, with my partner George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. We've gotten out of the booth for a few moments and mingling with the folks. We're trying to count how many Cubs hats we see, and we're turning those folks away, right?
That's right. They don't get tickets. That's right. If they do, they're up in the rock pile.
Yeah, they're going to be up in the upper deck. Hey, yesterday was so much needed for the Rockies. Not only a convincing win, 9-3. So many elements of the win. Jimenez was terrific for 7 innings, George. A lot of hits, a lot of 2-out hits.
Well, that was the key to it. More than anything, this club came through with 2-out hits. Dexter Fowler got it going early into the ball game. You know, they end up walking guys, setting up situations for success, and they took advantage of that. But the key for me all started with Jimenez. Because if you don't have good pitching on the mound, you're not going to win a lot of ball games. And for him to win the 16th game, his 16th game, and get on track where he needs to be again, that was a huge plus for this team yesterday.
They needed a laugher, and they got it. And again, going back to the 2-out hits, that is so key. It seems like teams that end up winning a lot more than they lose at the end of the season have a knack for the 2-out RBI.
Well, you eliminate the 1-run game. Is what you do. You eliminate a 1-run game because late in games and you get those opportunities, they try to set up to where they can stop the bleeding, and you continue the bleeding. You continue putting runs on the board, and that's what they did yesterday.
Yeah. Well, the Rockies matching up with a Cubs team that has a large payroll and not enough victories, once again, to satisfy their faithful. More on the Cubs when we come back to 20th and Blake. Plate, and a lot of folks have arrived early today, including
We're here early. There's a few guys with blue hats on.
The Chicago Cubs. We talked about it every year. They have a large payroll, yet they have not produced wins, at least the last couple of years, to satisfy certainly ownership. Lou Piniella announced that this will be his swan song over the next couple of months. They don't do the little things, George.
Well, they hit into a lot of double plays. That's one of the big things they do. They don't steal a lot of bases. But again, I think that's part of what the ballpark's built for. Because I know when we were in there in '84 playing as a Cub team in '85 and '86, they live for the 3-run home run. That's all they want to do. And that's what they have. They spend a lot of money on big boppers. But, you know, they've had trouble from Zambrano on down to injuries where they haven't had a lineup going the way they needed to. And finally, Piniella at age 67, 68 said, you know, I've seen enough. I'm going to the boat in Tampa, and I'm just going to relax and watch some baseball. Does that motivate a team? I don't know. You know, that this is going to be Lou's last couple of months. We're just going to have to wait and see how this team plays.
The one thing they can do is they can pitch. They have some very good starting pitching. Ryan Dempster, who we'll see tonight, he has the ability to shut down an offense.
Well, the reason why is he's very suited for this ballpark because he's a heavy sinker slider guy, and he's going to pound the strike zone. He'll show you an off-speed split occasionally. Veteran guy that's making some pretty good money, and he's doing exactly what they want him to do. I know he hasn't won double-digit money yet out on the field for them, but yet he's a guy that can do that. He can win those 15, 16 ball games.
All right. Well, Mark Stout is out and about somewhere in this vicinity. I don't know. We'll find out. Mark?
Guys, I'm on the third base side of the stadium. I'll be in the stands tonight. I want the Rockies fans to drown out the Cubs fans, and I'll have a story about Jim Tracy's playing career with the Cubs, how Lou Piniella and Jason Hamill have an interesting connection, and Allison, the wife of Jeff Francis, she helped his rehab with her anatomy class. Those stories coming up. Let's go back to the guys.
All right, Mark, that should be very interesting. We are ready to go. We know you are as well. Rockies and Cubs, come on back to 20th and Blake with us. By Quest high-speed internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. By E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By Ford Taurus, the all-new Ford Taurus. It's America's most innovative full-size sedan. Ford Taurus. Drive one. And by Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. And officially welcome inside Coors Field. Somewhat overcast. Wind was blowing pretty good during batting practice. Once the Rockies had gotten off the field, Chicago had to deal with some of that wind, but that's died down as well. There's Tyler Colvin, good-looking rookie. He's hit 16 home runs in 10 of his last 11 ball games. He's found himself in the leadoff spot for Lou Piniella. He'll be followed by another good-looking rookie, Starlin Castro, that .311 average. Second in the National League to Buster Posey among freshmen. Derek Lee, you know about his resume. Aramis Ramirez has been hot after a very difficult first half. Marlon Byrd's an all-star this year. Alfonso Soriano will be next, and Giovanni Soto having a good year. Ryan Terrio, and the pitcher, Ryan Dempster. Now let's take a look at the scouting report on Canadian Jeff Francis.
Well, the left-hander takes the mound tonight, 86-92. He'll live most of the time around the 87, 88 mile an hour. Cut it and sink it to both sides of the plate. I think he's really going to have to utilize his changeup tonight in order to have success against these Chicago Cubs. Now, he has struggled against the Cubs in his career, 0-0 with an 877 earned run average in 5 starts. But you look for consistency, and Drew, there's so much made of Coors Field at home and road and all the different numbers. For Jeff Francis at home in 6 starts, he's 1-1, 454 earned run average. And out on the road, 2-2 with a 459 earned run average.
Well, here's the bottom line. The Rockies have seen Jeff take them out at home 6 times this year, and they've won 4 of those ball games. That's a pretty good ratio.
You like it when the team wins.
First pitch is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space in your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer. And to be entered to win a pizza party for 12, one weekly winner will be chosen. Colvin's the only lefty in the lineup tonight for Lou Piniella, and the first pitch of the ball game is on the inside corner. Now, typically when Jeff's facing a righty leading off the ball game, you see the pitch in the same location, that arm side fastball. And he goes in there again. It's 1-1.
At 86 miles an hour, yet you just disrupt the hitter's stance at the plate.
Colvin, a product of Clemson University, former #1 pick. Here's the 1-1. And he fouls it back. He was out in front. Good pitch. And for me, that's the key, or one of the keys, I should say, with Jeff. You have to have command naturally. But when his curveball's in play to go with the good fastball and changeup, spotting the fastball, he becomes very, very difficult to hit.
Because the curveball is 72 to 76. It's different velocity, and the more velocity, obviously, he gets a less break, but better pinpoint to the outside, and he can back off of it and create a big break. It works as a secondary changeup for him with less velocity.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Colvin leading off the ball game, and that ball cuts away 3-2. Jeff has been pretty good in his last 3 starts, a 2.65 ERA.
And that over 17 innings, 17 hits.
On the ground to first, and an easy play for Brad Hopp. Brad picked that up kind of casually, and he hasn't played a ton of first base, as all of you know. And he looked at Jeff Francis and said, you know, I can get there myself, but wait a second, this leadoff guy's busting it up the line.
Yeah, he's getting after it pretty good. And again, Hopp has looked very relaxed at first base on not only fielding ground balls, but picks on short throws. But you're right, he had to get after it just a little bit. Francis held up after Hopp told him he had it.
Here's a guy, George, he's all of 20 years of age, and he eats up fastballs. Starlin Castro.
Special kind of player. They don't come around very often. Tremendous range at shortstop, strong arm. And it's only going to get better.
He was great in May when he was called up. Struggled in June as the league made an adjustment on him, but he's been lights out in July. 2-0 count on Castro. And that's off the plate, 3-0. He's hitting 382 in the month of July after hitting just 227 in June. See the numbers. Great May. June, the league adjusted. Well, he's adjusting back. He hits this pretty well to right. Going back is Smith. He'll get it. Nice catch by Seth Smith. And it's appropriate now that we'll check the defensive alignment for the Rockies. Carlos Gonzalez is in left. Dexter Fowler was very good offensively yesterday. He's back in center. Smith in right. Stewart, Tulowitzki, Barmes, Brad Hopp in the infield with Chris Iannetta, the new daddy, doing the catching of Jeff Francis. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Derek Lee. There's always one guy in the league who just has your number. And Derek Lee has got Jeff Francis's number. 7 for 9 lifetime against Francis. Derek Lee's had a lot of people's numbers, but
You're 7 for 9. Pretty heady stuff. 0-2 right now on Lee.
Worked ahead very quickly too, and he did it with a very good pitch. Forward strike zone. Fastball away, late tailing. It's not about velocity for Jeff, it's about location.
Show me fastball out of the zone. And that was close. Just north, evidently, of the strike zone of Mike Winters.
Well, a lot of times, and we've explained the strike zone numerous times, that it's gets above the belt to the knees, adjusted to every hitter. Derek Lee, a big man.
And Fowler's going to get there. That's about how Jeff needs to work to get Derek Lee out. Have him hit an Adam ball. 1-2-3 start. At a 1-2-3 start, Dexter Fowler will begin things for the Rockies against a part-time Colorado resident, Ryan Dempster. And it's a matchup of fellow Canadians. Ryan Dempster hails from north of the border, and as you know, Jeff Francis does as well. Here's Dexter at 224, 342 on base percentage. And he takes strike one.
Now, Dempster's handled the leadoff man of every ball club this year. They barely hit 200 against him.
33-year-old does that thing with the glove, George, and you wonder if it's a distraction at all to the hitter.
I don't know if it's a distraction. I think talking to Larry Rothschild, the reason he does do that, it helps him stay over the top of the rubber and not break too quick, and allows him to get in a position arm-wise to throw in a downward plane, because it holds him on the rubber a little bit longer, and then coming out of the glove, a very quick arm. Since coming out of the bullpen, 36 and 22. Remember, he was a closer for them. The opposition's hit just 243 against him.
Well, you mentioned when he closed, he's one of two players currently in the big leagues with 85 plus saves. And I've got to tell you the exact figure in terms of victories as a starter. That's fouled off at the plate. He's got 87 wins as a starter. And the only other guy that can say they've made 150 starts, that's what it is, in the big leagues, and also have 85 career saves or more, Derek Lowe, now at Atlanta. Similar styles, too, George.
Sinker, slider. Yep, sinker, slider guy. They pound the strike zone. 95 wins in his career, 97 losses coming into this game tonight. He's won 45 ball games in a Cub uniform with 42 losses. 5-3 in his career versus the Rockies.
But he's got a high ERA. His ERA against Colorado about 6.5. That's in 16 ball games. This is his 10th career start
Well, he eats up a lot of innings, and I think that's what keeps him into the games, and he wins those 6-5, 8-5 type ball games at Coors Field and at Wrigley Field.
Here's another 2-2. Strike 3. That was right there. Dexter will take the walk back to the dugout. Let's take a look at the rest of the Rockies lineup this evening for Jim Tracy. Rockies coming off a 9-3 victory yesterday against the Pirates. Smith and then Cargo. Troy Tulowitzki in the 4-hole. Brad Hopp hit a couple of home runs against the Bucks. Chris Ionetto bats 6th. Then Ian Stewart, Clint Barmas, and Jeff Francis. So here's Smith, who eats up fastballs from right-handers. He takes a strike. Smitty with 14 home runs. Two-strike count. Cubs defensively will have Soriano in left, Marlon Byrd in center, and Tyler Colvin out in right. Ramos Ramirez has good hands. Starlin Castro, young legs. Ryan Terrio, Derek Lee at first. He has 3 Gold Gloves. Giovanni Soto behind the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Cubs were off yesterday. They were in town. They've lost 2 in a row. This trip for the Cubs began in Houston. Smith just flicked the hands and fouled it off. There's Lou Piniella. Remember when he was managing Tampa, and the Rockies were in playing Tampa, and of course he's an old teammate of yours, George. We were visiting in his office, and he was telling us about, he's got a couple of boats, fishing boats. You thought he'd never leave Tampa because, he could go fishing in the morning and then make his way to the ballpark.
Well, he just felt like Tampa wouldn't spend the money to win, and he's all about winning. He just did not want to lose baseball games consistently, so the move was made. He got out of there, went to Chicago. Rain's starting to fall here at Coors Field.
Another foul ball. Here's another 1-2. Fastball up and away at 92. So it's 2-2 on Smith.
You'll see veteran pitchers take a fastball up and away from left-handers and add a little bit of velocity to it because it's a difficult pitch, A, to lay off of, but B, to hit and do anything with.
They want to go out there again. Oh, boy. He might have missed location with it, but that was a nasty back foot slider. 2 outs, a couple of punch outs for Dempster. He will strike out his fair share.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on him. He'll run his fastball 88, 92. He'll touch 93 occasionally. Most of the time, he's going to average between 90 and 92 with it. A hard slider and a split finger that he'll utilize to either right-handers or left-handers. It doesn't matter to him. He's mastered the pitch as he came out of the bullpen.
And sometimes it's hard to differentiate his slider and his splitter because both have sharp downward movement. That pitch that struck out Smith was clearly his slider.
Well, Dempster is 10th in the National League. He averages a strikeout every 8.6 per at bats.
1 ball, 1 strike on Gonzalez.
Most guys coming out of the bullpen on the sinker, fastball with a hard slider. Well, when he went back to the rotation, he wasn't comfortable with the circle change, so he added the split as his 3rd pitch.
And a broken bat, foul ball. So it'll be a ball and 2 strikes when Cargo has a new weapon. Gonzalez, each of his last 3 home runs have come against left-handed pitchers. Let's take a look at our Suzuki keys to the game, George. So what have you written up tonight?
Well, I think this is something you got to look at. The Cubs are in town. You're going to have a lot of Cub fans. It's going to be an exciting crowd to get you fired up and get you going if you're in a Rockies uniform. Hop's been on a roll. A couple of home runs, a double. And if Houston Street is healthy, pitched the perfect inning. And reached it very clear down into the corner.
Into the corner. This will be extra bases for Carlos Gonzalez. He may have a chance at 3. Nope. He'll stop at second, which is the prudent thing to do with 2 outs. And Gonzalez out there for Troy Tulowitzki as Colvin fired it back in. 15 doubles now for Gonzalez.
Now, people consistently want to go to the breaking ball. This time, Dempster goes fastball in to try to get Gonzalez. He just kept the weight back and shot the hands through the zone and out of the reach of Derek Lee down into the corner. And then it's just off to the races. 2 out hits yesterday. The Rockies scored 7 of 9 runs yesterday.
July average of Carlos Gonzalez as he's Starlin Castro in that grouping. And of course, San Francisco's Buster Posey has had an enormous month. Chop foul. It took a one-hitter by Anibal Sanchez yesterday of Florida to end the streak, the 21-game hitting streak of Buster Posey, and cool him and the Giants off. Hopefully there's more of that to come. Dodgers and Giants beginning a weekend set in the city by the bay. They'll be getting going in a little bit. That's a strike, going 2.
Mike Winter is very good home plate umpire when it comes to balls and strikes, particularly with veterans on the mound.
Well, that changes the whole at bat instead of a 1-1 count. Now Tulowitzki's behind 0-2.
Tulowitzki's done a great job. Don't get me wrong, with runners in scoring position. He's hit over 300, 320 to be exact. With 2 outs, he's hit 167. What it tells you in a 4-hole hitter, he's getting a lot of tough pitches put on him because he is the RBI guy with 2 outs trying to end innings.
I'm glad that was called a ball. I like that approach, though, by Dempster. I mean, there's no wasted pitches. He fired one just off the black.
Find out what the leeway is with winners. Are you going to ring that up, or are you going to give me that pitch if you put that in the memory bank?
Slider gets Tulowitzki. Soto makes the tag. Gonzalez left at second base. Dempster ends up with 3 punch outs in the opening frame. We'll go to the second, no score. Check in with Mark Staff for tonight's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Mark?
All right, Drew, George, Rockies Magazine. I know it's the end of the month. I always get to it late. Great article about Jeff Francis on the Hill, of course, the comeback kid, and about him coming back from his injury. And there's an interesting part of the article that talks about how his wife, Allison, who's a physical therapist, helped him out. She was teaching an anatomy class at Regis here in Denver to graduate students that are physical therapists. And she had a cadaver. Yes, that's a human cadaver in her lab. He went with her, and she was able to show him his shoulder by using the cadaver. And he said it really put things at ease on his mind. It took the mystery out of what they were working on, what the physical therapy was. It was kind of tangible evidence, if you will, from this cadaver. And Jeff says it really helped him with his comeback, guys.
There's nothing like having a cadaver nearby to.
Oh, come on now. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Yep, that's where that tear is there, honey. Oh, boy.
It's like one of my favorite shows, NCIS, you know.
Yeah.
You don't watch TV.
Well, I know it's your, I know
Investigating
that's your
thing.
favorite
Yeah,
show.
it's my favorite.
I know,
That,
yeah.
Law and Order.
2-2 on Ramirez. Swung on a miss. Francis got him to chase. 1 out. Go ahead.
Beautiful. No, I just did. I mean, you know, just Ducky always has those guys laying around everywhere.
Marlon Bird will step up. Marlon's had a terrific year.
Could you imagine if you went to the doctor and he goes, all right, this is what I think I got wrong. Now come next door, I'm going to show you on the cadaver what's wrong.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, time out. I'm good.
I'm finding a new doc.
Early on, even though he's missing a little bit in, a little bit away, he at least is getting to his spots. Talking about Jeff Francis. His ability with the fastball, staying a little bit taller on the rubber, taking his hand out much better out of the glove now. That's something we talked about a little bit yesterday, is the fact that he was getting too long as he came out of the glove, and it would float forward. And it caused him to be a little bit later. He cut the ball out of his glove much quicker with his hand, and obviously you get that good downward plane with it. Francis, by the way, all-time ERA at Coors Field, a minimum of 25 starts. He's second on that list at 451. Valdo, 338, leads it.
By a lot.
Yeah, Bung Young Kim's on that list, fifth. Which caught you off guard with that one, didn't I? 475.
Who else is on that list?
Well, Hamill, you expect that. And Cook. Cook's number 3, and Jason Hamill is 4.
Those two guys I would expect on
I thought
the list.
maybe Pedro Estacio might fit in there somewhere.
But you know why? Swung on a miss. Good pitch. You know why I wouldn't expect Pedro, and you and I are both we're huge fans of Estacio. He one of the toughest guys to ever wear a Rockies uniform. But, George, he pitched before the humidor.
Yeah, he did. He had, I remember one game, 154 pitches. On the Hyundai cam, let's take a look at this good pitch by Jeff Francis. Outside corner, a little more velocity than was expected by Bird, and he got it by him.
2 outs. Alfonso Soriano at the plate. You know, you have to admire now what Jim Hendry's trying to do with the Cubs. They've spent a ton of money. It has not worked out the last couple of years. They're starting to turn the page in places. Tyler Colvin's up. Rookie shortstop at Starlin Castro, who's all of 20. Giovanni Soto's a young player in his 3rd year, former Rookie of the Year. But they have some contracts, George. They have some guys that are like old furniture. They're not going to go away anytime soon. And I'm not trying to disparage the talents of Soriano, but they have Soriano for a lot of money for 4 more years, and he's not the player he was when he was a Yankee or a Ranger.
Well, I mean, you look at his numbers now. The average is down 268, but he does have 18 home runs. He has 54 RBIs, but he's been hurt a lot. And that's what happens when you get farther along in your career. The knees start to hurt, the arm hurts, you start to lose a little quickness in your bat. That happens.
2-2, and he's gone. What an inning for Jeff Francis. Ryan Dempster struck out the side in the 1st, and Francis saying, you know what, I can do that as well, as he strikes out the side in the 2nd. against Ryan Dempster. Good inning for Jeff Francis.
Well, by the way, for you at home wanting to know, Todd Helton is in the lineup as a DH for the Casper Ghost tonight. And a guy named Aaron Meade, who pitched at Missouri State, started for Orem. And Casey Kochman, who plays in the big leagues, his dad is the manager of the ball club from Orem, and has been for about 20 years. He scouts all spring for him, then he takes over. And Todd walked in his first at bat.
All right, here's a 2-0 off the foot of Brad Hopp. Well, the last couple of home runs Brad Hopp has hit have been in this direction, Drew.
What's it been? 5 at bats, 2 home runs, a double. And those last 5 at bats for Brad Hopp starting to heat back up again because he feels healthy.
Looks like he's got the timing back, which is the biggest thing for any hitter.
Well, he's got a few parts that move around in there, so it's obvious that he needed to get all those working in the right direction, and he did.
Inside and high, 3-2 on Hopp leading off. He'll be followed by Chris Iannetta and Ian Stewart here in the second. Rockies got the quick start finally yesterday in the ball game. Scored 5 in the first 2 innings. That's pulled foul. Rockies with 9 runs yesterday. That's the most runs they've scored in the game since the 10-0 win against Florida, which was their previous win. They snapped that 8-game losing streak. They hadn't scored more than 4 runs during the 8-game slide. So Jim Tracy, for a night, feel better about things, but the Rockies got to start heading in the other direction. There's plenty of time. Tonight, game number 103. And Hopp's gone. That's 4 strikeouts now for Dempster. Iannetta coming up. Let's take a look at our Breaks Plus poll of the night and show this text, by the way, Breaks Plus for $25 off any brake service this month, $10 off any oil change. Text your answers to 95323. Will the Cubs ever, ever's a long time, win a World Series? Rocks 1 for yes, but not in my lifetime. Rocks 2 for no. The curse will live on and on and on, like pie.
Well, I was part of one club that took off and at that time went to San Diego with a 2-0 lead, and things didn't change. It won't be under Lou Piniella unless they get really, really hot. Of course, there's a lot surrounding who will be the next manager. Alan Trammell is a guy that's been mentioned. Ryan Sandberg is probably a fan favorite to get the job.
Allen was in that picture, partially obscured. He was obscured by Ivan De Jesus. There's Lou Piniella's staff. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach. There circle me Frage.
Circle me Frage.
Rudy Jaramillo.
Ah, there we go.
There you go. Rudy Jaramillo is the highest paid hitting coach in baseball. Mike Quaddy is the third base coach. Lester Strode out in the bullpen. Rudy came from Texas. This ball is hit high in the air to left field, pretty deep. Soriano
with a wind ticket.
Yeah, that wind really took it from left to right. And Iannetta's gone. Well, who wants tacos, fans? If the Rockies score 7 or more during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Hopefully you did that today at Taco Bell. 2 outs. Stewart will step up. 14 home runs for Ian, 48 driven in. Two and 0. Rockies had 15 hits yesterday in that 9-3 victory.
listen, if you've got a group you'd like to bring out to Coors Field, pick up the phone and call. It's a great time. I mean, show up out here at the ballpark. All of you get to sit together, scoreboard recognition when you bring your group out. So pick up the phone and call 303-ROCKIES or go to ColoradoRockies.com for 25 or more. Get a great deal.
It's an easy play for Aramis Ramirez. A 1-2-3 second inning for Ryan Dempster. So we'll go to the third. No score. Soto will lead it off for the Cubs. Available to anyone. Test drive it today. Cubs in for tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Monday, finally an off day for the Rockies. The Giants here for a mini two-game set, and then it's off to Pittsburgh. Giovanni Soto will lead off, and he takes ball one from Jeff Francis. Soto at 286. He's a guy that will take a walk. He's got 48 of them this year. In fact, he has the highest OPS, that's on-base percentage, plus slugging percentage of any catcher in baseball. Number 2 on that list, Miguel Oliva. 1 and 2 on Soto. There's Miguel Oliva. He's got the first part of the night off.
Well, he's getting the first night off, but if you watch what he's doing in the dugout, he and Osvaldo Jimenez are watching the Cub hitters to see what their reactions are and what they're doing. I think that's the biggest thing about it.
This is a base hit to center field. And here comes Soto, and the throw is right on the bag by Dexter Fowler, and Soto is gone. Dexter was swung over a little bit toward right center, so he had a long way to run. But Dexter Fowler, in addition to covering a lot of ground, has a very strong throwing arm.
Yes, he does. And he's able to get out and cut this ball off, but how he rounded it enabled him to get behind the baseball and make this strong throw. Nobody appreciates this throw more, and you'd see him trying to turn it up a notch than Jeff Francis. To have defensive plays made like that behind him.
Great throw by Dexter. 8-4 on the putout. Here's Ryan Theriot. He's been the subject of some trade rumors. 1 ball, 1 strike. Theriot, a useful guy because he can play second or short, play really anywhere in the infield.
I think that's what people like about him. In fact, he's been hot of late. 7 of 8, 14 for 34, hit over 400. 5 multi-hit games.
Breaking ball, and it's popped up. 2 outs. Take a look at tonight's Cabot Woodstain's legendary performance. That is Willie McCovey. Look how big Willie McCovey's hands are. He collects 4 hits on this date, 1959, including a couple of triples and 4 at-bats in his big league debut. He would win Rookie of the Year, hitting 13 home runs in 52 games. And you know, we were talking the other day about Rookies of the Year that really didn't have great careers beyond their first year. Willie McCovey, not one of those guys.
No, he isn't. You know, the neat part about it is you go to San Francisco, Willie Mays is at the ballpark, Willie McCovey's at the ballpark. McCovey comes in every night. And unfortunately now walks with some crutches because of the bad knees that ended his career. But he sits every single night up in his private suite and watches baseball games. He loves the game of baseball, and he's got that giant hat on, rooting hard.
That's right. And as you mentioned, Willie Mays in the clubhouse just about every home game as well. Ryan Dempster and Jeff Francis hooking up. Clip Armas will lead it off. Here's our AT&T trivia question. Who are the 3 Canadian pitchers to win 100 or more games? We're going to give you one.
No, you're not.
I'm not?
No.
All right, I'm not. You know what? And all you folks at home that wanted a little help, blame it on Frazier.
Yeah, no. Let him guess. Let him enjoy this a little bit. One actually lived in Guthrie, Oklahoma for a while. That's all I said. It's in the Hall of Fame.
He doesn't have the ranch there anymore?
I don't think so. I think he sold it.
This is in the air to left field. Soriano will have it. Barnes is retired. That'll bring up Jeff Francis. Jeff hunting his first hit of the year. Jeff is from Vancouver, BC. And Ryan Dempster is from Gibsons, British Columbia. One ball, one strike. You've got to throw him a cookie. I mean, it's right.
Well, it's pitcher etiquette, but you got to do the same thing, though. Typically, that was against the bullpen guys, though, because you never got to hit in the National League. So you throwing fastballs. But if they got a hit, that was the last fastball they got to see. Dempster's career high 12 strikeouts in 08. Came another fastball. I like that.
Yeah, he's
old school.
He's giving Jeff an opportunity. Dempster, a 2-time All-Star, 2000, and just a couple of years ago in 2008. He struck out the side in the 9th inning of the 08 All-Star game. And look at that. Jeff Francis' first knock of the year. Told you to come off of Dempster.
On a slider at 85. Tried to go get him and tricked him, slowed the ball down. Jeff made him pay for it.
And Ubaldo loves it.
It's that competition you have, which there's a lot of it. Yep, the slider stayed right out over the plate. Jeff stayed right on it. Very good swing by the lefty.
One out. Francis at first. Here's Dexter Fowler. Dexter was 3 for 5 yesterday. Scored a couple runs. Drove in a couple. After being 3 for his previous 43. I was kidding Dex the other day with John and Trudy, his folks in town. I said, "You take him out for a nice dinner?" He said, "No, Mom cooked dinner."
Yeah, absolutely. Mom's in town. You cook, man. Breakfast, the whole deal, whatever you like.
This ball's walloped to right center field. And a bad break.
It sure is a bad break.
Ground rule double. As Francis was already at third base, he would have scored easily, and Dexter would have been at third with a triple. Boy, he leaned on this one, George.
Yeah, he did. Got a fastball that ran out over the middle of the plate. Really stayed square. Didn't get fooled by anything. The foot goes down on the front side. The Hyundai Cam solid contact into right center field. Thought the ball might have had a chance to get out of the yard. The way the wind swirled a little bit of Coors tonight. Oh, look at this. Look at everything just stayed on plane level. Fired right at the baseball. Waited on it to travel.
Seth Smith, RBI opportunity. And this ball is hit to deep right field, and it is over the head of Colvin. Fowler had to wait. He'll still come home on the double by Smith. 2-0 Colorado. RBIs 44 and 45 for Smith. Jeff Francis igniting the rally.
And you got to do it. You got to do it. And he did it. He's not excluded from those high fives in the dugout, that's for sure. Fastball that just stayed right in the middle of the plate and missed by a good foot. And Smith made him pay for it. Wanted that ball on the outer half over the head of Cloven into the outfield. And then Cloven time he gets it again. Dexter, no shot. He's going to lock up, spin back, look to tag because Francis is tagging. And when the ball's over his head, not allowed the free run for Dexter to come in and make it a 2-0 ball game.
And here's Gonzalez. Cargo a double his first time. There's a hint of a smile on Dexter's face, and that's good to see because I was visiting with him in the dugout earlier today, and to be honest, he didn't feel great. But that double will make him feel a whole lot better. Fouled off, 0-2. You know this, George, having competed in the big leagues for a long time. There's so many times players go out on the field where they have either little nicks, bruises, injuries you don't know about, or just flat don't feel well.
That's right, no question.
But they still go out there.
You still go play. That's part of it. You got to.
And Dempster gets a strikeout of Gonzalez. 2 outs in the inning. And that'll bring up Tulowitzki. Struck out Troy to end the first. 5 strikeouts for Dempster. Our Excel Energy fun fact: on August 10th of last year, Tulowitzki became the first shortstop in Major League history to go at least 5 for 5 with 7 RBIs. And Tulowitzki last year against the Cubs hit for the cycle. He needed the triple in his last at bat. That's the ball he hit in that left field corner, which is not generally a place you'd think triple. Right down the line, he never broke stride. 2-0 on Troy. Smith at second base. That's a strike. Two in for the Rockies here in the third. Single by Francis, double by Fowler, double by Seth Smith. Here's the 2-1. Inside, 3-1. Going back to that triple, George, I remember it well because Troy, it's out in front of him. He never broke stride. There was some controversy because the ball was not picked up cleanly in left field. But a triple was awarded because he never slowed down. If he had slowed down and then advanced, it would have been a double and an error. And because he was awarded a triple, he earned one of the rare feats in baseball, a cycle. Here's what Lou Piniella said about him in our Geico quote of the day. What did he have? 5 hits, 7 RBIs, and he just missed that one around the flagpole. I've never seen a guy drive in 9 runs in a game. And what Lou Piniella was referring to, which would have taken the cycle away. George, remember the first at bat when Tulowitzki hit a ball so high and so far down the left field line, it went over the foul pole, which I'm guessing, what's the foul pole? 60 feet high? Swung on and missed by Hop. And the umpires got together and they said foul ball. And he responded with a 2-run single a couple of pitches later. Otherwise, a 2-home-run day.
Just tells you the baseball fate put it in order to be what it was.
Yeah.
The only guy I've ever seen drive in 9 runs was Sammy Sosa right here in a game against the Cubs, or against the Rockies.
And that's a game I won't forget. Sosa, as that pitch misses, 2-1 on Brad with 2 on.
Took himself out after the 5th inning with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs.
It was the 6th inning. It was the 4th inning. He hit a 3-run home run. In the 5th inning, he hit one about 440. The next inning, 6th inning, came up with 2 men on again, and he hit one about 460. 4th, 5th, 6th inning. 3-run home run, 3-run home run, 3-run home run, and each went a little farther than the previous one, and then he took himself out. 2-2.
Well, Dempster has thrown 62 pitches in this ball game right now, and he averages 109 per start. More than halfway there. The most he's thrown in a single start this year, 125, May 30th against the Cardinals in 6 innings.
2-2. Good movement by Soto. 3-2. So the runners will be moving here, which is an advantage, obviously, particularly if Brad can find one in between the outfielders. It would give Tulowitzki a chance to score. Inside, ball 4. That'll bring up Chris Iannetta.
Drew, I think I want to look and see who the trivia answer is on AT&T.
All right.
I want to see what the answer is. I know I got one of them. Ferguson Jenkins is one of them.
Well, let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question. Fergie Jenkins obviously is number 1, the Hall of Famer. Kirk McCaskill won 106. Reggie Cleveland 105. Dempster next. And then Francis 11th. Bases loaded for Chris Iannetta on the outside corner.
27th pitch of the inning coming for Dempster. That will wear on you as a pitcher.
Almost threw that to the backstop. 1-1. And Dempster's last 2 outings, both no decisions. He's given up some runs. He gave up 7 runs, 4 in, 4 earned in 5 innings against Houston. In his last outing against St. Louis, 9 hits, 3 runs, 7 innings. That's a decent start. A lot of hits for him. 2-1.
Iannetta 1 for 2 with the bases loaded this year. The Rockies have hit just .205 as a team with the bases loaded this year.
And now it's 3-1 with the bases loaded. You have Smith, who doubled at third, Tulowitzki at second, Hop at first, and nothing Lou Piniella can do.
There's nothing that drives Piniella more crazy than anything, than he already is guys that don't throw strikes. Dempster's a guy typically that throws strikes.
He went to a slider on 3-1. 3-2.
Shortest outing he's had this year, 5 innings, a couple of times. You can see 24 in the first, long inning there, and then here in the second. It went pretty quick for him, but not so here in the third.
It's his 21st start. He leads the Cubs with 14 quality starts this year. 3-2. Ball forward, missed, and it forces in a run. Smith comes across with the Rockies' third of the inning. And for Iannetta, a good AB, his 16th ribby.
I'll tell you what, Dempster thought he had gotten his pitch called as a strike 3 because he'd gotten it called earlier. He said something to Mike Winters behind the plate, clearly off the plate by quite a margin. I mean, that's way outside, but Winters took the mask off and stared at Dempster, and the veteran turned and went back to the mound.
So 3 straight walks. No visit from Larry Rothschild. Here's Stewart. And he pops up the first pitch to center field. And I don't know if Marlon Byrd could see it. Now he does. Boy, he threw his hands up initially like he didn't see the baseball. Rockies get 3 in the inning. This is allowed just 1 hit. Tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report is brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Here again is Mark Stout. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Drew and George. Had a fun time today reminiscing about his Cubs playing days with Jim Tracy. Yes, Jim Tracy came up in the Cubs organization, and he told me it was in late July, around this time of 1980, that he was called up for Dave Kingman, who went on the disabled list. So he filled in for Kingman for about 3 weeks, got his first hit in his second game ever, which was a game that ironically was suspended because of darkness at Wrigley Field, so it was made up the next day. And then he said he came back up in September of that year, and in the first week of September hit the only 3 home runs of his career, and he hit them off of Jim Bibby, Bill Gullickson, and Dick Rutherford, 3 pretty good pitchers. Told me he was a candidate for NL Player of the Week, but lost out to Bob Horner. But Drew, George, Dave Kingman, to say you came up for King Kong, pretty cool thing to say about your career.
Yeah, and then that week in September, he made like Dave Kingman,
Right.
hitting the 3 bombs. Dave Kingman, who never hit for much of an average, he did finish his career with 442 home runs. Here's the 2-1 on Colvin, swung on and missed. But Mark's right, George. You think back, Ruthven, Big Jim Bibby.
Oh, yeah.
And Jim Bibby, Trace tells the story, next time he came up, Bibby hit him right between the shoulder blades.
That's kind of the way the game was played years and years ago. Talked an awful lot about that. Tell you, Jeff Francis, impressive of what he has been able to do today with both the breaking ball, the changeup, and the location of his fastball.
Three and 2 on Colvin. And did he go? He wants to get out of there quickly because I think he thought he went around.
Now, part of the politicking and part of the convincing of a third base umpire.
Jerry Lane, the third base umpire, said no, he didn't go around. So leadoff walk to Colvin, first issued tonight, and
he didn't.
He held up.
Yep, sure did.
I want to bring up Starlin Castro, hit a fly ball to deep right his first time. Strike on Castro. He reaches for this and hits it pretty well to right center field. Wynn's got it, and so does Seth Smith, fortunately. Another ball that just kept carrying, and I think it even surprised Seth Smith. 1 out, and that'll bring up Derek Lee. All right, here's some ties between the Rockies and the Cubs. Jim Tracy, drafted by the Cubs and played there in 80 and 81. Don Baylor was, of course, the Cubs manager in the first part of the 21st century. Glenn Allen Hill spent had a couple of different stints with the Cubs. This is deep in the hole. Diving stop. Tulowitzki to first. He's easily got Lee. What a great play by Tulowitzki. And he knew where his best chance to get an out was, George.
Well, it's all about knowing who's running the bases, who's where, and what kind of jumps they're getting. The youngster at first, the leadoff man, obviously going to have pretty good speed. So when this ball's hitting the hole, Colvin's going to take off with it. Tulowitzki didn't even hesitate. Came up firing, stayed behind the ball, and got Derek Lee.
2 outs. Aramis Ramirez at the plate. Ramirez last week the National League Player of the Week. Ramirez struck out his first time. Got 9 home runs, 24 ribbies his last 19 ball games, hitting .351. That's a ball. He had only 3 home runs in his previous 47 ball games. Ramirez, one of the better run-producing corner infielders in the game over the last decade. He has 6 100 RBI seasons in his last 9 years. And he's still just 31. Another guy that arrived to the big leagues very quickly. And this is hit to center field. Dexter Fowler is right there. Leadoff walk to Colvin. He would reach second, no further. 3-0 Colorado, middle of 4. Is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. By Old Chicago, eat, drink, be yourself. And by Hyundai Uncensored, real people, real comments on the 2011 Hyundai Sonata. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Two-strike count on Clint Barmas. Barmas lined out to fairly deep left center field his first time up. Look out, Jeff Francis. Just minding my own business in the on-deck circle, just working on my stroke. I had a knock the first time, and here goes a foul ball right next to my ear.
Yeah, dangers of standing over there. That angle's particularly the right-handed batter.
Off the plate, 1-2. Rockies, that last inning in particular, really elevated Ryan Dempster's pitch count. He's thrown 75 already. A high fly ball to Marlon Byrd. Even more familiar faces. Georgie was the Cubs 84 through 86. He actually started that 84 season in Cleveland.
I escaped.
And he escaped. And of course, our own Jeff Houston was with the Cubs in 2000. And then after his playing days were done, Jeff worked as a roving minor league instructor with the Cubs. He looks very professorial with the bifocals on. Jeff working pre and post game today. Jeff's working the real game. This Jeff's working the real game, but Jeff Houston's working pre and post game. I just want to clarify, Jordan. This ball's fouled off. Good looking swings tonight.
Fun times too. In '84, went from 25 and a half games out to 5 games up in just 12 hours. It was wonderful.
1-2 on Francis. Sharp single up the middle to start that rally last inning.
'80 pitches now in the 4th inning for Dempster. Too big, obviously nearly 30 in the 3rd, 24 in the 1st. Mentioned earlier, averaged 109 pitches per start. The most this year, 125.
And Francis in a bid for another hit will fall short as Terrio gets there. 2 outs. Dexter Fowler will be coming up. For all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Braconier at 303-777-3037. Think green, think Braconier. Great crowd at Coors Field. Rockies had great crowds for the Pirates series, including almost 47,000 on Tuesday night. This is a sellout tonight. Tomorrow's a sellout. Sunday afternoon's a sellout. You know, there was 38,000 plus on Wednesday night against the Pirates, and more than 34,000 yesterday afternoon. Here's another base hit for Fowler. And you know what, George? After that rough period for Dexter on the road trip, and he was not alone in struggling offensively, he's got 5 hits, 5 sharp hits in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's swinging the bat very well. Don Baylor, finally gets the ear of some of these guys at times, and they start to listen, and the results start to happen. One of the hardest things to do, folks, because that's a tough pitch. That's a down and in pitch. And that's very tough because he's going to kind of like snap that knee back and clear everything in order to get the bat to the inner half of the plate to hit that. But, you know, when you're in the major leagues as a player sometimes, everything you've done to get to the big leagues, you've had success, obviously. You get here and you start to fail, it's tough to sell you everything that's going to make you better. And so Giambi's one of those veteran guys they turn to help Don Baylor sell what he's talking about.
A good running situation. Naturally, the Rockies up 3 runs. There's 2 outs. Getting scoring position for Smith if he were to get cut down. You have Seth Smith leading off next inning.
In the last 11 ball games, he's hit 382 with a couple of home runs, 7 RBIs.
And that's a strike on Smith. Dexter had his 10th stolen base yesterday. Carlos Gonzalez leading the club with 14 stolen bases. One pitch on the fourth strike zone looked like 2 or 3 balls above the strike zone. Fowler not going, and it's pulled to second. So the Rockies are done in the 4th inning. We turn the page to inning number 5. The Rockies leading the Cubs 3-0. To 1, Jeff Francis has been terrific. This date in history is brought to you by Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. We go back to 1933. Dizzy Dean set a modern major league record by striking out 17 Cubs. Cardinal teammate Jimmy Wilson, the club's catcher, also set a new mark by recording 18 putouts. This date in history brought to you by Dex One. Marlon Byrd at the plate. 0-1 on Byrd. He struck out in the 2nd inning facing Jeff Francis. You know, Byrd does something interesting, George. 0-2. He moves his hand, you know, people are familiar with the term load. You pull back to go forward, you get separation as the foot comes down. He does it initially and then again. In other words, he pulls back.
All timing.
Yeah, his first timing mechanism, he pulls back a little bit and then he pulls back again, which is really unusual. Watch here.
It's all about timing. I mean, when he does that first initial move, the lower half, the front side of his lower half comes back. So he's kind of a semi-set, and then it's more of an upper back. See, watch when this goes back just a tad. See, the foot will go with it there, and then all of a sudden, then he loads to the backside. And a lot of times, the guys that do that have a tendency to try to pull all the time and are trying to get happy and get quick and cheat on a fastball. It just makes it, by putting that foot out forward, makes him stay back just that click longer. A better look at a baseball.
And you got a good look at that pitch. It was a breaking ball that wasn't particularly sharp. It might have been a changeup up. Swatted to center field now. Marlon Byrd continues to eat up left-handed pitching. He's hitting 377 against lefties.
It's that front foot that really times things for him to get to that back foot to do some damage. What's part of that order you get a little scared with, because Soriano has hit the long ball a little bit. The one thing I have noticed in this at bat, what he didn't do in the previous at bat, he cheated forward in the box.
Look out! Fowler makes the catch. Fortunately, no collision. Wow.
You get out into that outfield wall, folks, and everybody's screaming at you, I got it, I got it. Unfortunately, so are those 7,000 to 8,000 fans up there doing the same exact thing. All of those fans are watching it.
I think, you know what, I think
either
Gonzalez
one
saw, yeah, I think Cargo saw him at the last instant or heard him. I asked Tulowitzki, it was yesterday, I said, when you're going back on a pop-up where you got to really tear backwards, and you're obviously not running backwards, you're running with your back to home plate. I said, do you think about a collision? I mean, is it anywhere in your mind? He said, you know, honestly, he goes, you know, somewhere, it's somewhere in there because you're going one direction, you're looking up, and then there's an outfielder coming hard at you as well.
Yeah, the thing about that is if you're worried about that outfielder coming to get you, I would think as an infielder, you're not going to be going all out. I mean, you're not going to keep your eye on the ball. Even though it's in your head, you're still thinking, I got to go get this baseball.
Soto's timing was disrupted there.
He's been hot since the break. Nearly 300 average, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs in the past 11 ball games.
And he's tardy on that swing. Soto in his Rookie of the Year campaign hit .285, 23 home runs, 86 driven in. And then last year he had a miserable season. He slumped to .218 with 11 home runs and 47 RBIs. And he's bounced back nicely this year. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3. Locked him up with a curveball. Fourth strikeout for Jeff Francis.
Pitch made when you needed it made right here. Hard breaking ball. Soto's going to think that ball's down. He's pointing down to the umpire to give him an indication it was out of the strike zone.
The Riot's up there, George. Ryan Terrio. And a good curveball 0-1. Let's take a look at tonight's Quest high-speed pitch. Dempster is touch 93. Jeff Francis at 91. Brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies. And that was a changeup. 0-2. Hey, repair that chip in your windshield. Do it now. Call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com.
You can see why Terrio's a favorite, really, of Druenmeyer's and what you see him do against the Rockies, where you get to see him the most play versus just reading the box score. 23 games, he's hit nearly .340 against the Rockies in his career.
1-2. You know, this is really, you know, Brad's a great guy, Brad Hawk. And this is a nice move because Brad's out in right field. He can't talk to anybody, George. Now he's at first base and he gets to visit with Marlon Byrd, who's ever there. And he's got a whole long new list of friends. Rockies leading 3-0. Jeff Francis has been superb. 3-0. Jeff Francis has allowed just 2 hits. Good play last inning defensively from Dexter Fowler. And with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. We are thrilled you're along. A lot of folks in the ballpark tonight.
Yeah, it's
too.
nice. A little rain out.
What do we got?
Whoa, I love you.
We got Taco
This is
Bell.
awesome.
The Rockies scored 7
on, we need
plus
3
yesterday.
more.
Rob Alvarado.
Wow.
An executive with Taco Bell.
Wow.
That's great. He did that for us last year.
This is awesome. Thanks, man.
Now,
This is great.
now listen.
Drew, it's all yours. I'm
we're
going to
gonna have to-
nail
we're
this.
gonna have to
you
share.
got no shot. I'm not sharing anything with you.
Carlos Gonzalez. I got my own.
I know. Well, you do for now.
We're going to have to share, Rob, because there's no way I'm eating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
Why not?
tacos. Well, you know what I'm going to bring them home because the kids
Oh,
are
boy.
going to tear this up.
I think I'll send them to the truck and share.
We could do that also.
Or we
are
could.
they being nice to us?
Or we
tonight?
could. This is great. Oh, we need to make this a Friday night weekly thing.
Talk to Rob. He's the man.
You know what I mean? But they need to score 7 on Thursday. Score 7 on Thursday, right, Robin? And we're gonna get. Yeah, I like that. Our own drive up. This is beautiful. Yeah.
Here's the
Get us a Coke, please.
Here's the 1-2.
I'm going to be busy for a while. Oh, thank you.
Rob, thank you.
No, this is great, man.
There you go.
This was
Thanks.
awesome. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. You bet. Oh,
Thanks,
I'm
man.
going to.
Appreciate it. Look at Helmer. Helmer smelled food.
What are you
He's
doing,
got
Helmer?
one.
Helmer, get out of here.
What a surprise.
Sorry, I got to go to work.
This ball club right center field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Off the back wall of the Cubs bullpen. Number 20 for Carlos Gonzalez. And a run closer to tacos for everybody tomorrow.
Well, you're not lying. How about this smoke? That ball was flat smoke by Gonzalez. And you talk about winding up and letting it fly. He did that on a pitch a little bit about thigh level for him. And this is into right center field. The only doubt was the guy that's sitting outside the stadium. This ball left the bat, got there in a hurry.
Tulowitzki, a big swing and a miss. Man, was that ball ever
Doug,
crushed.
do not touch my tacos. Do not.
That was the 20th home run of the year for Gonzalez. As I mentioned, it's also the 20th home run Dempster's given up. That's a lot of home runs.
That's a lot of home runs.
Don't eat with your mouth or talk with your mouth full.
I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Tacos were pretty good, though.
You can chew a little bit, Frazier. Taste your food. 0-2 on Troy. There are players in baseball that are worth the price of admission by themselves alone in my book. And Carlos Gonzalez is one of those players. And he's worth the price of admission some days, even if he doesn't get a hit. That's a bullet to center field. Tommy Runnels saying, hey, man, you're fun to watch also.
Well,
I don't have to pay to get in, and I would pay also.
The nice part about it, Tommy managed him and really kind of sold the Rockies on the fact to get him up here mid-year last year when, before Clint was fired and everything was going on. And last base hit by Tulowitzki, so Larry Rothschild has jumped on the phone to get the bullpen going.
The pitch count is at 94.
Yeah,
and the Rockies are starting to hit rockets.
It's kind of the equation. Lots of runs, lots of hits, and a high pitch count results. Typically, you're not sticking around for very long.
You know what? He's going to finish that thing, and he's going to be back in like 3 minutes.
I can't believe Ringlesby didn't come get him. He loves talking.
It's too long a walk for Tracy. He's already on dessert. He may restart.
Huey,
soon
what are you
now.
doing?
Hey, Huey. You're not going to eat because, see, Huey's all about body beautiful right now.
Amazing how you rip him when he isn't up here.
No, I know. He's already eaten his 500 calories for the day. He's done. Two and one on Hop. Dodgers and Giants underway. Tulowitzki at first, nobody out. Way inside on Hop. 3-1. Rockies got 3 in the third and then loaded the bases after 3 had already scored on 3 straight walks. Iannetta actually had a walk that forced in a run. And then Ian Stewart hit a fly ball to center field. Fargo just made it 4-0 with that bomb, and I mean a bomb to right center. Ball 4, and you know what?
It's got to be getting close, I would think, for Lou to make that trip if they're ready to go. I mean, Rothschild's going to go out and buy a little bit more time for his bullpen to get going down there and get loose. This is not Dempster-like at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, George, this is not the Ryan Dempster we've seen in the past. It's not the Ryan Dempster that's shown up on most occasions this year. Fortunately, the Rockies are getting after him. They have 4 runs on 7 hits. James Russell, one of 2 lefties in the bullpen, available to Lou Piniella. Looks like he'll be the first candidate. Lou, this Roy Oswalt made his debut with Philadelphia, and in 6 innings he gave up 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 5 runs overall, 7 hits, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. So it wasn't overwhelming first start. And the Nationals blew out the Phils 8-1. And Iannetta takes another pitch out of the zone. It's 2-0. Two on, nobody out, and it's 3-0.
July 31st, the first 15,000 will receive a Jason Giambi T-shirt courtesy of King Supers. That's right, Cubs are in town. The first 15,000 on July 31st will get that Jason Giambi T-shirt. ColoradoRockies.com to get your tickets if you can find one.
And Iannetta given a green light with a 4-0 lead. Runners out in scoring position. Dempster has allowed 20 home runs. There's a group of about a half dozen that have allowed 20 plus. Jamie Moyer, Cole Hamels on it, Kendrick, 3 Philadelphia Phillies. Rodrigo Lopez has allowed the most, 25. That's on the corner. And Dan Herron, who's now at the Angels, a couple Arizona pitchers, a former Arizona pitcher now in Herron, had allowed 23.
Outside corner, obviously off of the plate. Now that was a pitch that did not get called a strike earlier. Dempster got upset with it. There's another walk. It's just, you got to believe it's got to force the hand.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
moves off the tables, and he's out to go get it.
You know, from Pinella's standpoint, George, the Cubs are in this ball game still. Doesn't feel that way, I'm sure, from his dugout perspective, but it's just 4-0. But now the bases are loaded, nobody's out. And Dempster's walked 5.
Lou's going to go ahead and make a double switch somewhere within this club, try to buy some innings here, which he needs to do. Dempster's to lead off the inning.
The 5 walks, the 4th time he's walked 5 in a game this year. Our old friend Jeff Baker's going to go into the ball game for Ryan Theriot at second base. James Russell is on. 4-0 Colorado. At second base for Ryan Theriot. Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Xfinity Voice. Unlimited local and long distance calling. Call 1-800-XFINITY. So James Russell is aboard.
Well, this left-hander is going to come into the ball game after appearing in 33 ball games so far. The son of former Major League pitcher Jeff Russell, who pitched for the Reds in 83-84, Rangers, Athletics, Red Sox, and Indians. Son coming to the big leagues, the left-hander. Fastball will run anywhere from 86 to 91. He'll sit 89. He likes to use it, the slider, and a changeup, but it's basically two-pitch mix off the fastball and slider.
One strike count on Stewart. And a base hit to right. Brad Hopp will get a stop sign, so 1 run scores on the single by Stewart, make it 5-0 Colorado.
49 RBIs now for Mr. Stewart after this base hit off the left-hander. Come on to try to stop the bleeding for the Cubs. Fawcett is still running. Well, the fastball just stayed out over the plate, center cut, 86 miles an hour. Stewart made him pay for it. A redemption from the last time he was up in this position.
Barmes takes ball 1. Barmes is average at 250, but with runners in scoring position, he sits right behind Carlos Gonzalez on the Rockies. 1-1. Bases loaded, nobody out. Wants to really open up on the Cubs. Popped up. That's playable. You get an infield fly rule here. Derek Lee makes the catch. 1 out. Jeff Francis being called over, not back, he's obviously not going anywhere in the game, but he's being called over to Jim Trace. He's got his arm around him. And this is kind of a lengthy, I don't want to call it a discussion because Jeff's just listening, but it was in a couple of words or one sentence. I mean, Jim Tracy had a lot of things to say to Jeff Francis about this at-bat.
Well, it sure is about this at-bat, whether they may squeeze, maybe they're going to safety squeeze, maybe they slug bunt, maybe make him throw strikes. Got a breaking ball on the first pitch for a swing and miss at 81 on a slider.
Well, you know, the one thing that Jim Tracy does not want to see is a ball on the ground. He wants to see a fly ball naturally, a base hit be beautiful, or a strikeout.
Now, Russell doesn't walk people, and a little bit unusual for a young kid. He's only walked 4 batters all year long. 29 innings, 4 walks, pretty good number.
1 ball, 1 strike on Francis. A single and a run scored in the 3rd. Sharp ground ball in the 4th inning. And that's a strike, 1-2. Jeff's such a cerebral, not just player, but person. We've talked many times about how bright he is. Talking earlier about how bright his wife Allison is. He knows that he doesn't want to hit it on the ground here, that a strikeout would be preferable to that, and it would give Dexter Fowler an opportunity with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Strike 3. So Francis strikes out, and Jim Tracy off camera just, you know, a couple of claps. Not that he's thrilled with that, but Jeff Francis, again, you know, it's little things. He wanted to make sure, at the very least, George, that Fowler had an opportunity.
Well, that's right. You want to put up, obviously, the everyday hitter as much as you possibly can. There's a lot of options there that could have gone well, but yeah, you just hope it works out for him.
Well, you know, Dexter's swinging the bat great. 5 hits in the last 24 hours. A double in the 3rd, a sharp single in the 4th. And this is his natural side of the plate. 0-2. Soto moves well. Don't you think, George?
He does a very good job back there receiving the baseball. That's why they moved a lot of the veteran catchers that were there ahead of him. I think one thing that helped him a little bit, he had Henry Blanco back him up for the first couple of years in the big leagues as far as calling a game at the big league level.
2-2 on Dexter. Kind of worked himself back into the count. Marlon Byrd, the center fielder, very, very shallow. Tyler Colvin in right is very shallow. And this is a pop right in the direction of Colvin. And he's got it. In the inning, the Rockies score a couple of more runs. They do leave the bases loaded. 5-0 they lead. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Jeff Baker to lead it off against Jeff Francis. And again, we visit with Mark Stout. Mark?
Thank you, guys. Quick story about how Jason Hamill, the Rockies pitcher, has a tie to Lou Piniella, the Cubs manager. You remember Jason Hamill was with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and that's where Lou Piniella last managed. Well, he thought he was going to have to really deal with Lou Piniella in spring training. This goes back to 2005, but he didn't have to because he was working out near the minor league spring training complex for the Devil Rays. And the guys were just working out. All of a sudden, they pick up a basketball. They start playing a pickup game. And he breaks his arm. He was trying to dunk. Thought somebody was under him. Tried to grab the rim. Something you and I don't know about, Drew. But he couldn't and fell down and broke his arm. Lou Piniella said, I thought I was going to have to deal with you. I heard a lot, but I don't have much to say. Not going to see you here in spring training. So interesting little tie with Jason Hamill and Lou Piniella, guys.
Well, Baker swung 1-2. Bite your tongue. I broke my wrist once dunking in basketball.
Oh, yeah, Drew?
Yeah.
You've hung on the rim, right?
Well, it was a puff basketball. It was one of those back of the door jobs.
Right, the Nerf?
Yeah, you didn't specify what kind of hoop he was working on.
I agree.
1-2. Here's the 1-2 on Baker, and that pitch in the dirt. 2-2 on Jeff. Become a pinch hitter and a role player in Chicago since being moved from Chicago, or being moved from Colorado. Still a dangerous guy. A lot of pop in his bat. Here's the 2-2. Up high, 3-2. Baker came up as a third baseman with the Rockies. And Rockies used him some at second base a couple years ago, and he gets a lot of time there with Chicago. And a base hit for Baker. Who Wants Tacos? Fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more runs for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 95323. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. That'll bring up Tyler Colvin. 0 for 1 and a walk. Just the third hit allowed by Jeff Francis. Inside on Colvin.
Quite a difference, about 30 pitches difference in the innings pitched with Dempster. That Francis has just pounded the strike zone, and he's worked both sides. 78 pitches, 46 strikes. Dempster 4+, 7 hits, 5 runs, 5 walks. Here's the pitches by innings for Jeff Francis. You can see very minimal, right at that average of 12 to 14 you like to see.
Two 2-0 on Colvin. Starlin Castro behind him. And that is a fair ball, just fair by about a foot, and Baker gets a green light. And Baker's going to score, and going to third is Colvin. And it's 5-1, nobody out in the 6th inning. 38th RBI for Colvin.
Well, the last thing you want to do is let this ball club have a couple of swings and get back into the game a little bit on you, and with nobody out. Baker got it, and then Clovens gets the ball down and in on the inner half of the plate on the Hyundai cam, shoots it right over Brad Hopp's head. And then he gets down into this corner. You kind of got to let it play its way out. Jeff Baker scoring all the way from first base. 38 RBIs now for the rookie. This crowd had been asleep for the majority of the game. The Cub fans, that is. Rockies fans have been cheering, had a lot to cheer about throughout this game. Matt Bilal starting to loosen up down in the Rockies bullpen.
So Castro with nobody out. And he takes down low. Castro gets it in play. He's almost guaranteed an RBI. That's why I said what I said when Piniella went out and got Ryan Dempster. And of course, Russell inherited a bases loaded situation with nobody out, but it was 4-0. Swung on and missed. And Piniella understands this ballpark and the number of runs that can be scored here. And he knew that the Cubs are still very much in the ball game, but he had to go get Dempster at that point. And to Russell's credit, he gave up the initial hit to Stewart, but after that he put the inning down. And a line drive. What a catch by Stewart! What a grab by Ian Stewart!
Now the young rookie tagged this baseball inner half, tailing away, or hooking away, I should say, from Stewart. And it's all about reaction, folks, and he has great reaction here as he just takes one step dive to make the baseball. The reaction out of this young rookie, he's not very happy. Last time I checked, it wasn't the bat's fault. Which is a pretty good third baseman, made a play on.
Derek Lee fouls off the first pitch. Starlin Castro, figured that's a double, and it's a 5-2 game, and they're a base hit away from being within a couple of runs. Instead, he's back in the dugout, muttering about Ian Stewart underneath his breath. He has hit the ball hard 3 times in this game. 2 deep drives to right, And then that rocket to third. 1-1 on Derek Lee.
Fastball outside corner, and if you're one of the first 10,000 fans on August 1st, you'll receive a Frontier Airlines luggage tag as the Rockies take on the Cubs on Sunday. Well, Derek Lee is tied for 11th with Andre Dawson on the Cubs all-time home run list with 175. Sammy Sosa leads it with 545.
You know, Derek Lee was very close to becoming a Los Angeles Angel in the last 48 hours and being a 10-5 guy, 10 years in the big leagues, 5 with the same club. He, after thinking about it, turned down a trade from the Cubs to the Angels. Ground ball to short. Tulowitzki will let the run score, playing back, and get Lee at first. So Lee has his 45th RBI, and it's 5-2. And Derek Lee, this is amazing because Derek Lee has been a terrific player, a great defensive player, and he's having a tough year offensively. He's battled back injuries. But Derek Lee, in some circles in Chicago, George, where he's been wildly popular, he's being criticized for staying with the Cubs. He said, you know what, I'd prefer to stay, even though he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And only in Chicago or maybe Philadelphia do you get criticized for sticking around.
Yeah, that's something else in Chicago. Nice job, Jeff Francis. Worked back out of this deal. It's 5-2 Rockies after 5.5.
Is brought to you by the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Call 303-571-1114. Ask about our hometown sports package. And by King Soopers, our people make the difference. Jeff Francis, the last 2 runs in that 6th inning. First couple of runs he's allowed in the ball game. Rockies up 5-2. Here's the battery of Francis and Iannetta. 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk for Jeff. Russell continues on, and he has another pitch in there on Seth Smith for a strike. James Russell in relief of Ryan Dempster in 4+ innings, charged with all 5 runs. 7 hits, 5 walks. Smith is gone. Here comes Carlos Gonzalez to the plate. Look at this last pitch.
Well, I think Smith, what he's arguing is he foul tipped the ball. And then it hit the dirt. And it went into the glove and then it popped back out again. So he's saying he should still be alive in this situation. I'm not sure it hit the bat. Let's really going to be able to see it here. Yeah, I didn't think it did. Fooled by the pitch very badly. Mike Winters didn't agree with anything talked about. And he called the strikeout.
Last time up, Carlos Gonzalez, another home run. Gonzalez, he didn't care if you're righty or lefty.
You know, it's funny how you
tears up everybody.
He has so many home runs. You go, well, last time up he had another home run. It's almost like, well, last time up he had a single.
Yeah.
I mean, just doing everything with regularity. That's the key to it.
55th Rocky to hit 20 home runs in a season. 55th time, I should say, that a Rocky has hit 20 in a season. Let's take a look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. The home run we were just talking about. Carlos Gonzalez behind 1-2 to Ryan Dempster. And he knew right away. In fact, 48,000 knew right away. Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Here's the 0-2. Ooh, that was close. 1-2. Gonzalez hitting .301 against lefties, .312 against righties. And he got him on the sweeping breaking ball. 2 outs, Tulowitzki coming up. If your windshield hasn't cracked or ding in it, call Safe Light Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or check them out online at safelight.com. Tulowitzki, strikeout, a walk, line shot, base hit to center. Last inning, and he would come around to score. Right at the belt for a strike on Troy. 4 for 13. With a couple of RBIs since his return on Tuesday. Missed 33 games with the broken wrist. The club went 17-16 without their cleanup hitter and all-star shortstop. And Tulowitzki went down on June 17th against the Twins. He was leading all big league shortstops with a .306 batting average. On the corner. He also at the time led all big league shortstops in runs scored, on base percentage at .375, and OPS, again on base percentage plus slugging at .877. And on the ground to second, Jeff Baker. On a 1-2-3 inning for James Russell. Cubs just climb back into this game. It's 5-2. Bullet down the line. Castro thinks he's got himself a double, and Ian Stewart says, no. Routine out. Great play by The Rockies' third baseman Ian Stewart to rob Starlin Castro. That was the Frost-brewed Coors Light freeze can. We go to the 7th inning, and the Rockies have made a change on the hill. After 6 very good innings from Jeff Francis, Matt Belisle will take over in the 7th inning. He'll face Marlon Byrd, Alfonso Soriano, and Giovanni Soto.
Yeah, Francis was really good tonight. Just 4 hits and a couple of runs, a walk, and 5 punch-outs for Jeff. 48th appearance now. For Matt Belisle, those 63 innings, the most by a relief pitcher in baseball this year.
And Matt has been as steady as they come, working in several different roles for the Rockies. I mean, he's been a setup man like he's being utilized tonight. He's pitched in situations where he's had to give the Rockies length, thus his 63 innings.
And why is that? Because he throws strikes. He's able to come out, short innings, work. He can come in and stop bleeding in the 3rd or 4th inning.
He was asked to
allow the offense to get involved.
I'm sorry, George. He was asked to get a save one night, which he did.
That's the first one in about 6 years, too. 40,189 people paid to watch this game tonight.
Two and two. Down low, 3-2. Soriano on deck. And a good fastball strikes out Marlon Byrd. 1 out in the 7th inning.
94-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's all about downward plane location. And just, you know what? You don't want to walk the leadoff man. If you're going to beat me by swinging the bat and putting it in play. And he got this ball by Byrd.
Here's Soriano. We talk at times about how players in this era, even big, strong players, typically don't use very large bats. 34 inches, 32 ounces, probably on average. A lot of guys in the 31 and a half ounce range. Soriano uses a large bat.
And it appears big, too, because of the model number. There's the R161 and C243, which are big, thick handles, and then a big barrel on the end of the bat. You know where you learn all those things, don't you, as a hitter? You go down and you talk to the equipment guys like Keith Schultz, and who orders all the bats for these guys all the time. Kind of look at the different models that they use and what the grips and the weights and the time they were ordered. I mean, it's crazy what bat companies do these days. Good hard slider again. Outside corner. Soriano, nothing on the inner half for him to pull to hit in the seats.
Great pitch from Belisle. 2 up, 2 set down. Here's Soto, and that's a strike. Soto a single in the 3rd. He was caught looking by Jeff Francis in the 5th. Jeff in line for his 4th victory of the year. And George, 4th straight real solid start.
Well, Jeff
for the Rockies left-hander.
Anytime you come back from surgery, and that's what it is, it's been about 18 months. Everything was on track for Jeff, and then he had the, I guess, for the less of better terms, armpit injury, where he could not get out over things, bad bruising, after throwing 6 stellar innings against these Chicago Cubs in spring training, and it just set him back. And to come back from that, May the 16th was his first start against Washington, and it was outstanding. Ran into a bump in the road against the Dodgers, the Giants, pitched well against Houston.
Well, his first 2 starts, after having missed that length of time, he allowed 1 run and
13 in the
3rd. 2-2, and Soto lost a hand on the bat, but he fouled it back. A couple of quick updates. Scores that are meaningful to the Rockies. The Marlins in the 3rd inning leading 3-1 in San Diego. And the Dodgers in the third inning at AT&T Park in San Francisco, leading the Giants 2-1. If those two stay that way, they would be positive results for the Rockies from their standpoint.
The right-hander Justin Berg is up in case they get to the hitter's spot. Fontenot stepped out into the on-deck circle.
Yeah, the pitcher spot is next, but they're not going to get there, I don't think. Nice play by Tulowitzki. He had to readjust. He's come to get that, and then the ball skipped on the seam of the grass. Good play by Troy. Great inning from Belisle. Inning with two aboard. Seth Smith doubles over the head of Tyler Colvin in right field, and the Rockies had a pair of runs. Jeff Francis actually got that rally started, and then a bases-loaded walk to Chris Iannetta forced home another run. In the fifth inning, Carlos Gonzalez on a slider up in the zone hit one 430 feet. 4-0. His 20th home run of the year, and then bases loaded, and Ian Stewart with a base hit against James Russell. Now the Rockies got their 5. The Cubs have responded with a couple in the 6th inning against Jeff Francis. We're in the bottom of the 7th. 5-2 as we look at the numbers on Justin Berg. That look back brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address.
Yeah, good hard sinker. That's what you'll get from him. It'll range anywhere from 88 to 93 miles an hour. We'll throw a slider, 2-pitch mix coming out of the bullpen. Mostly it is hard sinkers. Second time they've crowded Hop on the inner half of the plate.
Crowd a couple of walks in the ball game. Struck out in the second. And that misses 2-1. Rafael Betancourt doing his thing in the bullpen to prepare for the 8th inning. Hop hits a high fly ball to deep left field. Soriano has a play in the middle of the track. That'll bring up Iannetta, who has also walked twice in this game. Rockies all time against the Cubs, 68-77. They played them a quick 2-game set early in the season at Wrigley and lost both ball games. Last year they went 4-2 against Chicago, taking 3 of 4 here at Coors Field. 32-30 all time against the Cubs here at 20th and Blake. 0-1 on Iannetta. Here's the slider.
Betancourt doing what he does best. That's still the 9th inning. Getting yourself mentally set. And focus and concentrate. Excuse me, 8th inning. Focus and concentration in that bullpen.
First action tonight for Chris Iannetta in the homestand. Baby Ashlyn, born to Lisa Iannetta a couple of days ago. Their first. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Stewart.
Third baseman, number 9, Ian Stewart.
Well, follow the Rockies on your phone with MLB.com at bat, featuring highlights and a whole lot more. Heavy sinker by Bird. Really gets his arm, kind of short arm action, but really on top and then through the baseball.
One ball, 1 strike. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Rockies +3 on the scoreboard. Two on Stewart. Rockies 14 games over 500 at home entering play today. And they'll play more games at home than on the road the rest of the way by a handful. Long run for Soriano, and he's going to get there in foul ground.
That ball hung up a long time and allowed him to get there to get to the baseball.
We'll go to the 8th. 5-2 Rockies. Institute game summary. Rockies got 3 in the 3rd against Ryan Dempster. They added 2 in the 5th. The Cubs finally scored against Jeff Francis in the 6th. The Rockies leading 5-2. They've out-hit Chicago 8-4. Francis on the plus side, Ryan Dempster on the south side in the matchup of British Columbia natives. Carlos Gonzalez, his 20th home run of the year earlier. There's Rafael Betancourt. He'll handle the 8th inning. And we'll see Mike Fontenot pinch hitting here in the 8th spot. Jeff Baker's on deck, so it'll be Fontenot, Baker, and then the top of the order in Tyler Colvin against Rafael.
44th appearance. You'll see a fastball anywhere from 92 to 95 miles an hour. Hard slider from Betancourt, a very aggressive relief pitcher on the mound with his fastball.
So here's Fontenot, the LSU product. Ball 1. And this thing, they're 1-1.
Separation with this crowd right now. By the way, Betancourt's 15 holes. That's 9th in the National League right now. Gregerson has 24. One of the main reasons San Diego is where it is. The bullpen. Todd Helton 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout so far for the Casper Ghost.
Two balls and a strike on Fontenot. Almost exclusively now comes off the bench as a pinch hitter. In fact, his last start was July 9th in LA against the Dodgers. He had a big May, hit 347, but slumped to 196 after June 1st. Baker. Baker has one of the 4 hits tonight for Chicago. Came into the ball game in the 6th inning in a double switch. Actually in the bottom of the 5th to be more precise. That was first at bat in the top of the 6th. 2-2 on Mike Fontenot. And overwhelmed by that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And Betancourt has put down Fontenot, and now Jeff Baker will come up.
And the bullpen struck out 3 of the 4 batters they have faced. Bilal with a couple, and Betancourt starts the 8th off with 1 here.
It should not come as a large surprise. The Cubs do a lot of striking out. Baker's hit was a line drive to right. Just one of those guys. He has great bat speed, and he blows up the back, the upper portion of his back with his follow through. I mean, that bat comes through the zone, and he finishes high, and he finishes on the other side of his body. And some guys, fly the top hand, the old Walt Rinniak approach. George, not Baker's. 2 hands on that bat all the way through until its conclusion.
Well, if he ever stay healthy, I think he'll probably get an opportunity to play every day, but he's always had wrist, hands, leg injuries throughout his career. Opportunity for a guy to put up some pretty big numbers.
Two on Baker, and he changed speeds, threw him the slider, and another strikeout for Betancourt. The Rockies bullpen now between Bilal and Betancourt have faced 5 hitters, and they've struck out 4 of them.
hard slider. That's the two pitches he'll use. Fastball at very good velocity, 90-95, and then this hard, late biting, almost cut fastball. He throws to the outer half. Marshall getting loose down in the bullpen for the Cubs. Rockies will send up Clint Barmas, pinch hitter, and then Dexter Fowler, a switch hitter.
I hope Sean Marshall comes in, George, and has to throw 35 pitches, because you don't want to see him when you trail. He is awfully good. Thought there, wear him out tonight. Keep him from being involved tomorrow. Unlikely Lou Piniella would let that happen. 1 ball, 1 strike on Colvin.
They've been on a pretty good streak, too. 13 of his last 14 appearances have been scoreless for Marshall.
Remember similar numbers when the Rockies were at Wrigley Field earlier this year. He was on a good roll.
Very consistent.
And he gets righties out also. Boy, that's a great pitch. That looked like that was a changeup. We almost never see him use that pitch.
Something that he very rarely throws. Is it was a changeup. See it come right out of his hand. A circle change. It's all about position of the arm and the location of the pitch. It was outstanding.
You see about, think about 70% fastballs, and then the slider with Betancourt. That was a great changeup. 1 and 2 on Colvin. Colvin, first round pick in 06, 13th pick overall. Swung on and missed. And that'll get the out at first. 3 punch outs in the inning for Rafael Betancourt. Doesn't get better than that. 5-2 Colorado, middle of 8 at Coors Field. Cubs. Will the Cubs win a World Series ever? Text your answers to 95323. 62% don't think it'll ever happen.
Not those guys.
No, they don't think it'll ever happen either, but they're still Cubs fans. That's the beauty of Cubs fans. Here we go, bottom of the 8th inning. The Rockies again leading by 3 runs. Clint Barmes will face Sean Marshall, former 6th round pick of the Cubs out of Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU.
Started bouncing back and forth with the Cubs in 2006. 2009, found a niche out of the bullpen, made 55 appearances.
This ball's driven a deep left, and it is off the wall. Soriano bobbled it for a moment. Would have been a double either way. So Barmes lashes at the first offering from Marshall, and he's at second base. His first knock of the night. Here's the Amica hit zone on Barmes.
I see where the pitch is, and that's kind of his hot area right in there.
Amica, it's not how you're covered, it's how you're treated. Melvin Moore is going to pinch hit here for Betancourt. And a base hit to right. Here comes Colvin. And the Rockies will have to stop Barmes at third, as Colvin plays pretty shallow anyhow. And got to it very quickly. First and third. 2 pitches from Marshall, a double and a single. That's not what he's been doing typically coming out of the bullpen. We have Dexter Fowler with his 5th at bat. He's 2 for 4.
Very quickly, Todd Helton with a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 8th to give the Casper Ghost a 2-1 lead.
Way to go, Todd. Swung on and missed by Fowler. Two-strike count. Barmes at third, Moore at first. Rockies looking to add on here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Marshall has the 6th lowest ERA among relievers in the National League at 171. And a foul tip, not held by Soto. Dexter from this side of the plate hitting 260, the left side 205.
One pitch that both sides of this thing kind of, this thing going to snap out there. You know, as a catcher, you feel it hit, and I mean, that's in slow motion, folks, but it happens so fast. You just got to get lucky and close at the same time, about the time the swing happens.
Dexter fails to get it in play, 1 out. And that'll bring up Smith. Well, it won't bring up Smith. It'll bring up Ryan Spilborghs. He'll pinch hit. So Spilborghs has been swinging the bat very well. He has a 7-game hitting streak. 5 for 19 in a pinch hitting role this year. Hitting .361 in the second half. Rockies looking for just their 4th win since the All-Star break. Move to the 6th inning at Petco. It's 3-1 Florida. The Giants have taken the lead, though, on the Dodgers in the 4th inning in San Francisco, 3-2.
Well, if you want to upgrade your game experience at Coors Field, let me tell you, folks, this new open-air restaurant at the Mountain Ranch Club, it's something else. 303 Rockies. To reserve one of those, or ColoradoRockies.com.
Strike 3 for Marshall. And struck out Fowler and Spilborghs back-to-back. And now Gonzalez will come up.
Big bender. Good spot. Tough pitch for a right-hander to do anything with, because so far away on the Hyundai cam, you're going to see it. You know, it spins out of the hand. You're thinking high, high. And it just breaks to that outside corner. And it's going to wrap in this fashion.
Gonzalez, a home run and a double in the ball game. Also a pair of strikeouts, 1st and 3rd. Average at .310. He's among the top 7 leading hitters in the National League. Houston Street getting ready for his role, the 9th inning on the plus side. And a base hit to right. And Barman scores the Rockies' 6th run. 2nd RBI tonight for Gonzalez, his 66th of the year.
Well, that all happened because of what Melvin Mora did with his at bat as a pinch hitter, pushing the ball through the right side, and Mora advanced Clint Barmas to second base, even though I understand the base hit to right. Cloven's got a pretty good arm and can get rid of it pretty quick. I like the fact these are all breaking balls that he's gone out to get. Remember the ball he hit off of Lopez the other night on a sidearm slider off the 3rd deck. Another breaking ball away from him, stayed pretty flat and true, and he made it pay for it.
Tulowitzki at the plate. 6-2 Colorado. Coming into this ball game, Marshall had been in 53 affairs, and he held the opposition scoreless in 45 of them.
Yeah, frustrated Lou early on when he come to the big leagues and they put him in that starting role. He would struggle, but has really excelled coming out of the bullpen.
One and one. Tulowitzki tonight, strikeout, a walk, a single, and a ground ball to second. Ground ball foul. Past the former Baltimore Oriole, Richie Dowd. Richie. Good player. Real good player. Played collegiately at Southern Cal. Tremendous athlete. He's a great basketball player. Inside. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rockies have pushed one across here in the 8th on another ribby from Carlos Gonzalez. This should have been all-star. And this ball's driven at deep left field. Soriano's not going to get it. Into the corner it goes. Mora scored. Gonzalez to third. Tulowitzki an RBI double. And the Rockies lead it 7-2. They've hit that magic number. More tacos for everybody in the area tomorrow. Make sure you go to Taco Bell between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special tomorrow afternoon. Good at bat from Tulowitzki.
Constantly kept pounding the breaking ball down and in, then ran a fastball in, and Tulo made him pay.
Brad Hop.
You can see that they just tried to work that hard breaking ball. They went 2 in, he fouled one off, one was called, then they went fastball and went back to the breaking ball for a swing and miss, and it wasn't swung, it wasn't missed with the swing. One hop to left field wall.
Brad tried to lift that into the seats. Gonzalez, who singled to third, Tulowitzki at second. Rockies with a dozen hits tonight. And now Street has taken a seat. Buchholz is up. That's a strike. Street got an inning of work yesterday. And this ball's driven to deep right center field. Way back and gone. 3-run shot for Hop, maybe not. I thought that thing left the building.
I thought it hit a bench and then came back in again.
Maybe it hit the yellow pad. Brad's not sure. He thought it was out.
Well, you're going to watch this. Look right here on this yellow pad. Right on top of the yellow pad and then bounce back in. On the Hyundai cam, you're really going to get a good look at it. Now, it didn't take very long. Pinella's seen enough of Marshall. He's going to go down and get Cashner, a young kid, high draft pick that throws really, really hard, and bring him into the ball game.
Another inch and a half, and Brad Hop would have got 2 more bags. With the trade deadline coming tomorrow, we examine the moves made in the National League West and what they mean for the Rockies' playoff hopes. A look at the month of July, the highs and lows, and as always, we'll sit down and get Jim Tracy's perspective on a number of topics. That's Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy immediately following the ball game on Sunday. with less than 24 hours to the non-waiver trade deadline. Edwin Jackson went from the Diamondbacks today to the White Sox as you look at the numbers on hard-throwing Andrew Cashner.
Yeah, up to 100 miles an hour, he'll average, and I mean average, right around 96.
Chris Iannetta will step up, 8th man to hit in the 8th inning. Rockies hit around in the 5th inning. Actually, they hit around the 3rd inning. They had 8 men come up in the 5th. 9 runs yesterday against the Pirates and 9 more tonight. So the Rockies have broken out offensively. Can't tell you how good that is to see. Fouled by about 10 feet. 1-2. Andrew Cashner, Texas born and bred. Born in Conroe, Texas, up the road from Houston, and this ball is blasted to left center field. Nobody's going to catch this one. It's going to roll to the wall. Here comes Brad Hopp with the 10th run. Chris Iannetta is said, hey, Miguel Olivo up and hit a triple also. Second ribby tonight for Chris Iannetta.
Brought on to face the right-handed hitter, and Cashner, you see all those high fives for Brad Hopp and all the excitement surrounding what he's been able to do the last 3 or 4 ball games. And then Iannetta caps this off with a triple. Another breaking ball, 83 miles an hour, and Iannetta just set on it and used his strength to drive this ball into left center field.
Yeah, you know, out on the front foot a little bit, George, on the breaking ball. It just gives you an idea how strong Iannetta is. He's really all with the hands and the arm.
Well, the bat speed starting right there, and then Iannetta recognizing that ball got off the wall, a little bit of a snap. He's going to go ahead and try to give it a try here. Turned it up to that next level right about there.
And it kicks away from Soto. Iannetta not moving up. Let it get shown there, 10-2. The Rockies blowing out the Cubs here in the 8th inning with Stewart at the plate. Well, Marshall had a 1.71 ERA when he went to the clubhouse today at about 3 o'clock. He's going to leave the clubhouse tonight with a much higher ERA. And Cashner has just served one up to Stewart. His 15th of the year. Make it 12-2 Colorado. Miguel Olivo loves it. 50 RBIs now. 51 RBIs for Stewart.
All Lou Piniella can do is watch and just hope this thing gets over with pretty quickly. 12-2. First fastball is thrown 94 and it left the yard from Cashner. Stewart can do this, folks. He can put some big numbers up and do it in a hurry. Second hit tonight for Stewart. 3 RBI night for him.
Strike on Barnes. 7-run 8th inning for the Rockies. They've eliminated any doubt on the outcome of this one, and they are still not done. Base hit for Barnes. He's 2 for 2 in the inning, single and a double.
One thing the Rockies have struggled this year with runners in scoring position. Not tonight. 8 for 6. 8th extra base hit for the Colorado Rockies, season high.
Eight extra base hits for the Rockies tonight, a season high. That's what I think George was alluding to.
Yeah, and 8 for 16 with runners in scoring position tonight. That's pretty good. That's an area they've really struggled.
It's hard to be 8 for 6, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was having numerous people talk at that time.
There you go, more at the plate.
But we got through it, and everybody at home understands.
Yeah, you know, if the Rockies keep hitting, George, Barmes will have an opportunity for a cycle here in the inning. with a single and a double in the inning, so he's got the triple and the home run to go. 2-0 on Mora. We want to see crooked numbers. 12-2 is crooked, and then 16-4. That's the hit differential. 3-1.
Probably not quite the way that Rudy Jaramillo and Lou Piniella planned this out tonight.
And this is to the gap in right center field. Barnes flying around the bases. He'll score. Mora is to second with a double, the 8th run of the inning. Save some for tomorrow.
Fastball again down in the zone. It just tells you, folks, when guys are seeing the ball well, swinging the bat well, good things happen, and something really good has happened here in this inning for the Rockies with an 8th spot on the board. Man, oh man, Varmus off to the races to come in and score that 8th run of the inning to make it a 13-2 ball game.
Keep in mind, this inning began with a Clint Varmus double and then a base hit by Mora, first and third. Then Fowler struck out. Spilborg struck out, and after that 7 straight hits, including the Stewart 2-run home run.
6 extra base hits, 4 doubles, a triple, and a home run.
Marshall was a pitch away from coming out of the inning without giving up anything, and now the Rockies have scored 8 in the 8th.
I'd just like to see him get one more just to tie the season high with 9. And the comeback win, they had 9 in one inning.
Yeah, in the 9th inning against the Cardinals. 9 in the 9th. Well, yesterday the theme of the day was 8 is enough, as in 8 losses in a row is enough, and the Rockies put their foot down and they've put 2 feet down tonight. This a high drive, deep right. Take a look. We'll see it for all. 2-run home run, Dexter Fowler. It's not a whole lot of fun to be a Cub or a Cub fan right now. Third home run of the year for Dexter.
How many pinch hitters have 2 hits in an inning and done what Moore has done, and then Dexter just continues it? All Cashner could do is watch.
This is something else. A 10-run 8th inning. And Spilborg slides one to left center. I would say this is getting ridiculous, but they passed ridiculous about 5 hitters ago.
Yeah, Lou's pretty frustrated in that dugout. He's wanting to get the youngster out of the ball game after giving up 5 runs in this inning. They're trying to get him going as fast as they can down in the Cub bullpen. Lou's just waiting on somebody to show a hat down there that he's ready to go. Well, they just asked him if he's ready, and he said no. Lou will take that 45-minute walk out at this point.
15-2 Colorado. Ryan Schlitter is going to be next. The elusive third out.
Well, Lou hadn't asked yet. He's going to kill a little bit of time out there and walk in some circles.
You got to take him out because
there he goes.
there's a couple of records that have been set now in this inning for Colorado. They have 10 runs in the 8th inning. They have, folks, 9 consecutive hits. That's a Rockies record in an inning. The old record was 7. They have 11 hits in the inning overall. The old record was 9. Now, as best we can tell, the most consecutive hits in a game in the National League, 12. See, but you know what I'm looking up now, 12 consecutive hits. I'm trying to read this and pass it along at the same time. In 1920, by the St. Louis Cardinals, the American League record is 10, and that's the 10th straight there. As Gonzalez singles. And for Cargo, his 4th hit of the night. All 10 hits, consecutive hits, with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. I'd ask you, George, if you've ever seen anything like this. I know the answer because we've never seen anything like this. There's never been anything like this.
No, I haven't seen anything like this one. It's fun to watch, though. Fun to absorb if you're a Cub fan. A lot of people in blue shirts have left.
Are they going to have a field day tomorrow in Chicago? The writers, those with a blog, and those with a radio talk show. Tulowitzki at the plate. Oh, 2. Marshall started the inning. He went 2/3 and gave up 5 runs. Cashner obviously didn't record an out. 15 runs on 20 hits. Tulowitzki an RBI double about 20 minutes ago in this inning. Spilborghs and Gonzalez on. Cubs have been out in the field for about 40 minutes. Schlitter was clean shaven at the start of the ball game, George.
I figured as much.
And that's a base hit left center field. It's going to run all the way to the wall. Spilborghs has scored. Here comes Gonzalez. Tulowitzki with a double. This is flat out remarkable. 17-2. That's 11 hits in a row. As best as we can tell, 1 shy of the big league record. If this was an American League contest, it would be a record.
Asking for a curveball down, and he got it down. Tulowitzki just went down and got it on the Hyundai cam. Look at this pitch. It's around the ankles.
3 RBIs in the inning.
Oh, go ahead and hit one.
Tulowitzki.
You hit the top of the wall once. Go ahead and do it again.
Finally a pitch inside, and I'm sure Lou Piniella approved of that. The Rockies have 12 extra base hits tonight. That's a new club record. Two and 0. And it's 3 and 0. Brad Hopp is the 16th hitter of the inning.
And it is
and
now
there will be a 17th.
33 minutes old, too, by the way.
don't know if I've ever seen that, George. Maybe I have. 17 hitters in an inning.
Yeah, but you didn't have lights in the second deck.
You know, Clint Barmas is in the hole. Stewart's on deck. If Barmas were to come up, it'd be his third at bat in the inning. Iannetta hits one on the right field line. Out of play. Cashner faced 6 hitters. Obviously, all of them had hits. He gave up 6 runs. Outside. The Rockies, during their 8-game losing streak, scored a grand total of 18 runs. They have 17 tonight, 12 in this inning. Three and 2 on Iannetta. Tulowitzki at second, Hop at first. And ball 4. Here comes the 18th hitter of the inning. Bases loaded for Stewart. Larry Rothschild wants a golf cart about now. Been to the mound so many times. Stewart, in his last at bat in the inning, hit one in the seats. Boy, that old line applies again tonight. You come to the ballpark and you never know what you're going to see. You may very well see something that you haven't seen before. And guess what?
Might see a grand slam because you know what? He's had 16 at bats with the bases loaded this year. That's more than any Rocky. He's got 3 hits. Let's go ahead and hit another one.
He's got 3 career grand slams. Good fire there. It's 0-1. So many records broken tonight. The 12 runs in an inning is a club record. "13 in a row have reached." It was 11 straight hits. And now 2 in a row have walked, Hop and Iannetta. Two balls and a strike.
Trying to throw a fastball inside to Stewart, but it hasn't gotten down and in yet. 2 pitches in a row, and this one put him on his back.
In the air, the fairly deep center field, but the third out recorded by Marlon Byrd. 18 hitters come to the plate in the 8th inning. 12 score. Unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-XFINITY. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. By The Other Guys, starring Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, in theaters August 6th. And by Larry H. Miller Boulder Toyota, driven by you. A most remarkable 8th inning. The Rockies scored 12 times, 13 straight reach, 11 in a row by a hit at one point. Tom Helmer, I hope you have something to talk about in the postgame show.
I was out of the ballpark for like 32 minutes. Did anything happen while I was gone?
I'll fill you in later.
How about these go to 11? Spinal Tap fans will feel me. 11 consecutive hits. A huge 8th inning for the Rockies. Of course, we'll have highlights of it and break it down. Northern exposure. We'll talk about Jeff Francis, the Canadian, with a great outing today. And, of course, we'll get you down to the clubhouse. It's already getting rowdy out here, so you know this postgame show is going to be, I think, off the hook, as the kids say. Drew.
Yeah, it could be off the hook. Ryan Spilborn stays in the game. He's in right field. He originally pinch hit for Seth Smith. He almost had more ABs than Smith had in the first 7 innings. Spilly had a 1-for-2 8th inning. 12 runs, 13 hits. And here's something. The Rockies, George, end up leaving the bases loaded for the 3rd time in the game.
Yeah, 4th game for Buckles. Yeah, it was ugly. Ugly for the Cubs, beautiful for the Rockies. Taylor's been warming up for 33 minutes, so he ought to be ready to go. In this situation, all you do is be able to come out and throw strikes, get through the inning in a hurry, get out of here.
This is how wild it was. When the inning began, Houston Street's warming up, and he's going to have a save situation. It's 5-2. And the Rockies get a run. Okay, little insurance, 6-2. And then when it got to 7-2, Street sat down. Jim Tracy got up Taylor Buchholz. You probably could send in an usher about now, and the lead would be safe. That might be fair, but 15-run lead. No, you don't think so, Jordan?
No, you know, I just no. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and I've been on the other end of these things.
No fun.
There's a lot of anger sitting in that dugout over right now. The last thing you want to do, obviously the lead would be safe, but you don't want to come in here and all of a sudden you'd be the one giving up some base hits. But there's some heads hung over there, and there's some guys hacked off. I think I'll wait till tomorrow to stop by and say hi to Luke.
Slider, and Starlin Castro's gone. 1 out in the 9th inning. Last time the Rockies scored 17 or more in a game was July 4th, that crazy game against the Marlins, in which they were down 13-4 and ended up winning 18-17, the 4th of July in 2008. Here's pinch hitter for Derek Lee. It's Xavier Nady. Coy Hill is on deck to hit for Aramis Ramirez. Three and up.
Well, this is one thing you don't want to do coming out of a bullpen with a 15-run lead, and that is start to fall behind hitters and walk people. Buchholz not trying to do that. He's trying to induce a swing of some kind. He'll end up walking.
Let's review the record set for the Rockies in this game. Runs in an inning, new club record at 12. Hits in an inning, new club record 13. A team record 11 straight hits in an inning. The previous record was 7. 18 batters in an inning is a record. "12 extra base hits in the game is a record. Let's correct something. Initially, the Rockies internally had said it was 12 extra base hits. Hard to keep track of everything on a night like this. It's actually 11 extra base hits. I can't even read my book anymore. At least the 8th inning. So that is a record as well. 11 extra base hits. 2 balls and a strike on Coy Hill. Jason Hamill, Tom Gorzolani tomorrow.
And Gorzolani 4-0 since coming back off the DL. Hamill has been very, very, very good the majority of the year.
Taylor may be having trouble concentrating. 3-2. It's the second straight 3-ball count, and he lost 80 on 4 pitches.
Well, 14 pitches thrown in the inning, 9 balls, 5 strikes. It's not typical of what Taylor can do.
Left field line, long run for Gonzalez, and he's going to get there. He made that play pretty easy, George, but it wasn't as easy as he made it look. He's just completed about a 50-yard sprint. He's got a wall coming up on him.
And a lot of this is the height of the ball, which allowed him to put that sprint on, get over, position himself, and make it look like a pretty easy catch. But he covered a lot of real estate.
Marlon Byrd 1 for 3 tonight. There's the ball game. And that 8th inning will be talked about for a long time. And we have to tell you that so many crazy things happen. It's actually 12 extra base hits. So we got from 12 to 11. It's back to 12. Suffice it to say, the Rockies had themselves one heck of an 8th inning.